Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 81 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We have another great organization this week as we highlight Gaston Dance Theatre. We have Camilla Bullard and Landry Semen with us today. Camilla is the school and artistic director, and Landry is a current student. Camilla and Landry, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So we're going to get right to it as we normally do, and maybe start with you, Camilla, if you don't mind. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Anything you'd like to share?
Let's see. So I'm the school and artistic director since, I believe, 2020.
Okay.
I started as a parent, and let's go back. I used to dance for Gaston Dance.
I think I saw that online, Yep.
I used to dance, started at age 11.
Wow.
And
that was just a couple years ago, right?
Just a couple.
Okay.
Just a couple.
Good.
And life happened, right? And stayed in Gastonia. And now I came back. My daughter started there dancing, and I started as a parent. And then I started as a volunteer. Went to a volunteer,
Okay.
and then went to teaching creative movement for 45 minutes, and then the rest is history.
All right.
So in 2020, I had the opportunity to become the artistic and school director. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, very good. We appreciate you sharing that. Landry, what about you? What would you like to share?
I am a second season company member with
Okay.
Gaston Dance Theatre. I started when I was 6 years old in the, what's it called? Kinder dance?
Kinder dance.
Yes.
Wait, did you know when you started with the camps?
The camp.
Yeah.
I think it was an Annie camp. I had Miss Camilla. There was one other girl in it. And I remember it, what was it?
What?
I don't remember.
That's okay. All right, so that's, I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, listeners like to hear a little bit of background about our guests and how they kind of got involved. So for us, people like me who dance is the last thing on my agenda or abilities, kind of give us some background, if you can, about Gaston Dance Theatre, history, your mission, just anything, specifically that you can share about what is the Gaston Dance Theatre.
Okay, it's a dance organization. It was founded by Pat Wall in 1982, who I had the honor and privilege to study from.
Okay.
And we're going to be celebrating 40 years last year.
Yeah.
40 years last year. We started our first Nutcracker in 1994, which would be 30 years next year. So super. Everyone knows that I'm kind of like a Nutcracker fanatic. So I'm super excited for next year. We teach all genres of dance, ballet, jazz, tap, modern, contemporary, and we go from the one dancer that wants to dance just for fun, like maybe you all, we have adult classes. And then we go.
Hopefully my wife won't hear this.
Yeah, totally. He's interested.
Yeah.
So, and then we go to someone like Landry who dances 6 days a week.
Oh, my.
And she actually will be leaving us this upcoming season because she's going to high school to dance full time.
Oh, wow.
So she's going to be pursuing a career in dance. So we cater to the one who wants to just dance for fun and the one who wants to take it on as a career.
Okay, wow. That's that's just out of my comfort level, might be the easiest way to say that. So, but I appreciate you sharing that. 'Cause there's probably listeners who may not know much about the organization. So, Landry, maybe come to you. Can you kind of maybe describe? You said you started when you were 6. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of describe some of your experiences with the theater, and maybe your favorite thing that you've done, or again, from my ignorance, I don't even know what to call it, whether it's shows or production. Thank you. Just maybe talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Since I've been old enough, I've performed in the spring show and Nutcracker every year.
Okay.
So it's always fun to play with like new roles and everything. So yeah.
So tell me, the Nutcracker, where is that typically production done? Typically
at Gaston Day.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So I have been to a production at Gaston Day of the Nutcracker. So
awesome.
I thought it
Recently?
was your.
Awesome.
It's been a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that your group was the one that put it on.
Yep, that's us.
And you're located now in Unity Place. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Still? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oddly enough, my wife and I, we were one of the last weddings when it was First Baptist Church.
Nice.
So back in 1996.
Yeah.
Year you were born. That's funny, Naomi.
And it still looks the same. So
Yeah. In fact, March 2nd will be my 27th anniversary. That's how long ago that was. But yeah, it wasn't too long after that maybe we shut down First Baptist.
Did it relocate or?
It did. It relocated down Union Road. I don't know if you're
Yes.
familiar if you're going away from town, it's on the left. Oddly enough, we neither one of us attended there, but that's where we got married. My wife had grew up in First Baptist Church. That's why we were married there. So, Camilla, maybe sticking with you, can you talk about some of the initiatives? So what's going on, it may be now, throughout the year? I mean, you've mentioned a couple of productions that are done, but kind of what are the initiatives, maybe a little more detail about that, kind of just the day in the life or a day in the week of Gaston Dance Theatre?
So we're a nonprofit organization. We do a lot of community work. Like Landry mentioned, we have a studio company that does a lot of our community work out, little performances, advertisement, things like that. So, yeah, we just love to dance, and just throughout the community, we go into nursing homes.
Okay.
We're coming up on the, I think, 3rd year of our Gaston County. We work with the Gaston County students there after school. So that's pretty cool that that we get to do that. And
so they come to just a program. They come to you, or
we go to them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We go to them, and so pretty much my mission for Gaston Dance and what I see is just to get anyone and everyone who's interested, and even not interested, involved in dance. You know, it's more than just a class and doing a plie, but I think it's also I would say it's an experience that these girls go on.
All right, so I read a little bit online. It's a great website, by the way.
Thank you.
Is it mostly kind of, you mentioned for us novices? Mm-hmm. Can you go into what are some of the type of dances, or, forgive my ignorance of, ballet versus whatever. Can you kind of, what are some of the differences? What are some of the things you were teaching, and just that kind of thing? Does that question make any sense at all? Or
totally. So I'm my genre that I teach the most is ballet. Okay. So I would like to say I stand firm on this, although it's up for discussion in many other studios, but ballet is the foundation of all dance. So no matter like what student comes through the studio doors, that they take ballet. And then, of course, we also jazz, which is more focusing on the rhythm and the looseness, is that a word, of
sure.
the body? Sure. Awesome. and then we have modern, which is, it's closer to ballet.
It's a bit more structured.
More structured,
okay.
more grounded. And then we have contemporary, which is more of a free form of type of dance. So, and then tap, of course,
yes,
helps with our rhythm. Landry, she did tap from
almost every year.
Every year. I think this is her first year without doing tap. So, yeah.
All right. So, what's the typical age group that you have in the school?
We start from ages 3 and potty trained.
Oh,
3 and potty trained.
Very important.
3 and potty trained.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
And then we go up to adult.
Okay.
And so I like to highlight, like, one of my students, she's been with me for 5 years, and she is in her fabulous 60s and is on point.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah, she's been coming with us for the past 4 or 5 years. So anyone, like I said, anyone who wants to
So it's young
dance.
to young at heart.
Absolutely.
Okay. Interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to use my age as an excuse, but maybe I can't.
Nope, not at all.
I can't do that. So you mentioned somebody like that. So can you talk about, looking back at your time with the theater, some specific successes? I'm going to assume we have one sitting here.
Yes.
That we might want to talk about in more detail. But yeah, just some successes or impact that you've seen on students or the community. Just some anecdotal story you could share about what you've experienced, and then maybe even let Landry talk a little more about her successes. Obviously, going on to bigger things, maybe.
Yes. Well, one thing recently that GDT has been awarded is one of our instructors, Shonda Hooper. She teaches our jazz and modern, and she also grew up through the Gaston Dance program. We danced together younger. And we submitted a piece to University of North Carolina School of the Arts in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
And it was chosen.
Oh, wow.
So we're super, with the company, we're super excited about that. So it was adjudicated, and they like what they saw from the dancers, and we'll be performing that at the end of this month.
Okay. Where would that be? Would that be in Winston-Salem?
In Winston.
Oh, okay.
They have a festival each year that we attend, a dance festival, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And at the end of it, we'll be performing there at their winter gala.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Camilla, sticking with, I'm trying not to embarrass Landry too much, but kind of share why did you? I'm assuming you asked Landry to come be on this podcast with us.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that you? What stands out about her that you wanted to bring her on?
So I will not get emotional. Landry has been with me. She started in the camps that we used to, and I started teaching the camps. That's how I started teaching at Gaston Dance Theatre. And she came in, and she was dedicated from day one. And she started her training with ballet and intro to ballet. And so Landry was doing different things. So she was swimming, and she was dancing, taking the intro to ballet class. Okay. And she would come in, must have just gotten finished with swim lessons. And studio etiquette is you can't come in the middle of a combination. So if Landry got to class sometimes a little late because she was swimming, she would have to wait until the combination finished. And so she would barely been able to see over the door looking in the window, and she would just be looking. And I would have my hand up just a second, and she would just be looking, And so when we finished, I would invite her into the class. She would go there just stoic and just ready for class. And I would touch her head, trying to help with body placement, soaking wet. Her hair.
From the pool?
From the pool. But she was there. And so I immediately saw her drive and her dedication and her will of wanting to be a dancer. I invited her to help me assist. And so I would say probably maybe 6 months into being a student, she has been assisting me ever since. So she's also my teacher assistant in several of the classes that I teach. So I've been working with her, I would say maybe a year in. I've been working with her privately, twice a week, once a week. So she dances 6 days a week, and she takes private lessons. So she's one of the girls, usually all of the company, whatever I ask or whatever I need, because I'm a community person. I love getting out in the community to share dance. And they're usually like, Miss Camilla, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? So she was available, and I was like, Landry, I think I asked, maybe.
Kind of.
Okay.
A little.
Yeah. A little bit. And I was like, Landry, we're doing a podcast. And she was like, yes, ma'am.
I think it was maybe after you signed me up for it.
But so I signed her up, and then I let her know.
So it's kind of you're voluntold, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's how many things do happen, especially things like this, or especially community type work or anything related to that. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. I'm involved with a lot of local organizations myself. So, Landry, I'm gonna ask you this question. In your time with Gaston Dance Theatre, can you think of what are you most proud of accomplishing or doing or production that you're most proud of?
I would say probably the school I'm going to be attending next year, South Carolina Governor School. GDT has given me an amazing foundation for that. So taking that next step forward towards going for a professional career is really exciting. And for our show we're working on now, I'm going to be performing as Snow White. So I'm really excited for that.
Star girl.
Seems like I saw that online too, on the website. So that's coming up. Was that one at Gaston Christian?
It's going to be at Gaston Christian.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Our spring shows are at Gaston Christian, and our annual Nutcracker is at Gaston Dance.
And I just remembered the reason that I think I went to see the Nutcracker. One of the reasons was you have a student, or recall student named J.C. Williams.
I do.
All right,
Yeah.
J.C. and my daughter are at Forest View together and very good friends. They've been good friends since, I guess, elementary school, I guess. But yeah, they're really good friends, and and so that was something. She was in a production or has been. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
this is her first year not dancing with us. She danced with us for many years.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And we love the Williams family. He even coached their son. Yeah, Josiah. Mm-hmm. And gosh, he's at First Methodist soccer. Gosh, many years ago. And then my oldest were in the band at Forest View with Josiah too. Yeah. So it's just a great family. So looking ahead, Camilla, I mean, what do you see for the organization in the future? You know, that I think I say this every episode, that classic question is 5 to 10 years down the road. But it doesn't have to be that. Just kind of looking ahead, you know, what do you see the organization looking like, or any big plans?
Well, I think I want to continue to grow our productions each year. Just using me as an example, GDT just holds a special place in my heart from the very beginning on so many different levels. Mentorship, I still am in communication with Miss Wall, the founder, and Tony Wall and Ed Campbell. I can call them anytime, like I get into, like, what would you do in this situation? You know, because it's awesome to be able to glean back on what they have to say and share that love for the organization. Our productions, they continue to grow. I think we are at 48 students in our production. When I first started, I think we were like in the 35. Okay. So I would love to continue to grow, be out more in the community, and of course, just continue to share the love of dance, help those who are wanting to pursue a career in dance, ballet, I'm a little biased with, to help create that strong foundation and to give them that confidence to know that they can do whatever they put their mind to. Are most of the students here locally from Gaston County, or is there a mix from other places as well? It's a mixture. Okay. Yep, it's a mixture, and that's another goal, is to go beyond the walls of Gaston County. I grew up in Gastonia, and so I always tell people that one thing that I love, I know some people are like, oh, when I get away, you know, I'm going to go to New York and stay, but I love it, you know, because when I'm at the mall or if I'm at any store, they'll be like, I went by Millie growing up, and they'll be like, Millie, and I know that they know me from when I was little Millie, you know, little Millie. And so I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And it's so awesome to tell people that I'm the school director, artistic director of an organization that I grew up dancing. So yeah, listen, that's kind of one of the reasons we started this podcast almost 2 years ago now, is because, and kind of like what you said about ballet, I mean, I'm totally biased about Gaston County. I grew up here as well, and I spent a few years away at NC State, but otherwise I've been here my entire life. So yeah, we think it's a terrific place. Yep. And of course, we're also, you know, I like to point out at every episode I can that you know, Charlotte is the gateway to Gastonia. So we're this side of the river is the place to be. Absolutely. So I like this question. I'm going to ask both of you, and you kind of probably already shared your experience a little bit, Landry, but I'm going to make you answer again because that's just how I am. But Camilla, I'll start with you. Why, you know, this is a podcast about Gaston County and all, you know, some of the great things happening around here. Why is Gaston County better? Because Gaston Dance Theatre is here. It just
You've shared a lot of reasons already, so it's kind of a repetitive
I love
question.
both.
Yeah.
I think it just continues to open, like you keep saying, like you apologize for your ignorance. Like I want to get beyond that. You know, I want to let people know that ballet dance period is still very much alive, and it's an art form. You know, it's just not like I said before, a plie and hands over your head, right?
Yeah.
Pink, but it's an art form, and it is the way that we express ourselves. Both of us are introverts, believe it or not, and not huge public speakers, but we can get up on the stage in front of hundreds of people,
Right, yeah.
you know, and feel 100% comfortable. So I think Gaston Dance offering that art form to Gaston County makes it just a little bit sweeter than what it already is.
Very good. Landry, how would you answer that question? Why not Gaston County better?
It provides an amazing space for dancers, everyone that wants to come into the studio. I love seeing like all the new students and the little kids because I get to help with a lot of the classes.
Have you had opportunity to kind of mentor some of the younger kids over time?
I love it too because I'll walk in, they'll be like, "Hi, Miss Landry," and I'm like, "Hi," and I love watching them grow and improve. It's really nice.
Okay, yeah, that ultimately, to me, that's kind of the point of almost everything, really. I mean, so again, I appreciate you sharing that. So this has been good. Obviously, we're going to before we finish, we'll make sure that we swing back and find out where can our listeners find more information about the organization, any volunteer opportunities, anything you guys got coming up, obviously any productions coming up. We want to make sure that our listeners are aware of all that. But are there any questions I haven't asked that I should have asked, or anything you'd like to share before we move on to some of these Gaston County related questions?
One of the, like I said before, like I love outreach.
Okay.
So one of the exciting things that we're doing, I think that Landry was volunteered to do again, was next Wednesday we have a group of Korean students that come up. I cannot remember the name of the church where Jennifer Stepp, our councilwoman, her church is, but each year we work with a group of Korean students that they bring up, and we're going to be teaching dance to them.
Okay.
So more community work for us, and to give us a foundation to share the love of dance. So we're going to be teaching them. I haven't told her yet, but she's going to be dancing for them as well. And so
you're finding out all kinds of things today, aren't you?
All kinds of things. But teaching the art, to the group of Korean students. So that's pretty awesome.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So I think what's today? We're recording this on February 1st. So by the time our listeners hear that will have already passed. But that is the kind of thing it's good to hear, right? It's good to hear organizations like yourself, and outreach is a great word. It's a because so many organizations do such great things, and sometimes organizations like yourselves, your organization, it might be one of those good kept secrets, right? That not enough people know about. Even though I'm familiar with, because I think years ago we actually through Mark Epstein.
Yes.
He got it. He got us involved with some sponsorships over the years with the organization too, because he's a longtime friend and customer of ours.
Still one of our board members.
Yeah, I think I saw his, because I looked at the sponsors. I saw his veterinary group on there as well. So, I'm sorry. Did you really?
Oh.
All right. Well, Naomi finally interjecting into the podcast. I appreciate that. So, and we'll finish up with a couple other questions about Gaston Dance Theatre before we finish. But we do have some questions that we'd like to throw out that are Gaston County related. We're gonna call this the Contemporary Modern Ballet round of speed round of questions.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Say it again. What is it?
I won't be able to repeat it because I make it up.
Contemporary ballet speed round.
Yes, speed round of questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Landry has a young mind. She can remember things better than I can.
That's right.
So you guys have been around Gaston County long enough to answer most of these questions. So Camilla, start with you. Do you have a favorite Tony's ice cream flavor?
Grape.
Wow. Grape is more common than I would ever imagine. It is.
I mean, who sells grape ice cream?
Yeah, I mean.
I've never had grape ice cream.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, in her defense, she lives in York County. and so she travels. So maybe that's what it is.
Have you ever been to Tony's Ice Cream?
Yes. I have.
Okay, so what, do you have a favorite?
Mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip.
Yes.
See, and I never had that.
Really?
I'm questioning.
The chocolate chips it's really nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it.
I'm gonna have to question. I'm gonna have to question that, Landry, because I cannot do mint and chocolate together. I just can't.
It's
I
not
know.
like mint. It's just like mint chocolate chip.
Of course, I mean, if you're at Unity Place, yeah, Tony's isn't very far, is it? In fact, it's a little too close to here.
We've
to our
actually
office.
walked to Tony's from GDT before.
Yeah, makes you feel better about going to Tony's when you have to walk there.
I know.
Camilla, Sundrop or Cheerwine?
Ginger ale.
So you're just going to ignore the question completely? Ginger ale.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. Wow. So y'all just said I'm not going to answer that at all. But I have to admit, Dr. Pepper would be that is my favorite.
Really?
Soda.
Yes.
If I have a soda.
I totally just got on them and I was like, someone was drinking Dr. Pepper. I was like, who still drinks Dr. Pepper?
It's superior.
Really?
Yes.
Ginger ale, totally. Totally.
We may have to edit out the rest of Camilla's answers for the entire episode. Well, unfortunately, at age 50, it might be more like Dr. Pepper Zero sugar every now and then, but I'm a Dr. Pepper guy. Favorite local restaurant, Camilla?
Longhorn or Webb's.
Ooh, two good answers.
Yeah.
Viva Techies.
Oh, yeah, right downtown. Very good. Stick with you, Landry. Favorite outdoor activity? It doesn't have to be in Gaston County necessarily if you're from York County, but our favorite park here or something you like to do?
Probably hiking Crowder's Mountain is fun. I like the backside of it because it's really pretty at the top.
Steep, too.
Yes.
Camilla, how would you answer that one?
I would say outdoor. Dancing outdoor. Is that one? No?
Yeah. Because of, the topic of this episode, I'm not going to allow that one.
Okay. I would say the park. Martha Rivers Park is pretty cool.
Yeah, Martha Rivers is cool. Got a lot of good stuff there.
It's really cool.
All right, this is the only question that matters in all of these. Camilla, I'll stick with you on this one first. UNC Duke or NC State?
My daughter is a freshman at Duke, so totally
Really?
Duke. Yes.
Oh, awesome.
You only have one answer.
Amara's like one of my best friends, so I have to say Duke.
Yeah. Go Duke.
Give us
Plus,
something.
like, the color's pretty, so.
Yeah.
And they won last night.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't think we've ever had both say Duke.
Yeah. We're a little biased. But
A little.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, come on. What happened to the
Well, did you I even hinted earlier. I even threw it out there that I spent a few years at NC State, and y'all just ignored it and just.
I mean, they're both cool. But
Okay, Landry's got my back on this one.
Go Duke.
All right, so Camilla, what is something very few people know about you?
On my bucket list, I have a need and a desire of a woman shed. All
Woman
pink
shed.
tools.
Like a she shed from the State Farm. Was the State Farm commercial?
That's what it's. Yes.
She shed. Yeah.
She said. She.
Don't say that 5 times fast. Be careful.
She shed.
she shed.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. This is a family. This is a family-friendly
show.
podcast.
So,
Okay.
with all pink tools and a jacuzzi, but everything has to be pink.
Okay.
Yep.
Is your husband aware of this?
I think so.
Okay.
You
I
could
hope
get like
he
a
is.
pink flamingo to go like on the
Totally.
outside.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
This image is becoming apparent now.
Yeah.
Landry, how would you answer that question? Something you can share that
Um,
very few people know about you?
I think I like to organize, which is really weird. But like I'll just like if I'm bored, I'll find a room and I'll just start reorganizing it. Sometimes my family gets a little irritated because it'd be like, "Where did you put all my stuff?" And I'm like, "I put it in a better spot." But
Is that true?
yeah,
Okay. So we have someone in the background here who is not unwilling to get on camera, but we'll let that go. I'm pretty sure it's part of Landry's family, I'm assuming.
Her
Yeah.
mom.
my mom.
How about, Camilla, a book or blog or article or something you follow or another podcast that you follow or something that might be beneficial to our listeners, a book that you've read or something?
I do not read like I should. I don't know. I know.
That's the second question you've completely ignored that I've asked.
Podcast.
Listen, you
This
can't-
one.
You can't.
This one. Yes, go team.
Yeah.
This one.
Okay, I can't argue with. I can't argue with that one. So, anything besides that, Landry, or something, or is that your final answer? That's a hard question.
You know,
I'm a
yeah.
big reader, so that's the reason I asked that question. I'm always reading something myself.
I can't think of anything.
No dance
At the
books
moment.
or
I mean, we literally
YouTube channels that you follow.
I mean, researching like summer intensives. Does that count? You know,
Yeah,
to get like
That's
all the
great.
background. Yeah.
absolutely. You have to know where you're going.
Exactly.
Because summer intensives are
I
expensive.
have a whole list actually.
Yes.
I have no idea what that even means. What
So
is it- what
summer
is it-
dance intensive.
Okay.
So it's usually 5 weeks. I would say the least is $5,000.
Ooh.
6 days a week of training. I would say 6 hours a day that the dancers go to. So she has been to maybe the last 3 years.
So it's
2
past
Past 2 years.
years? Never.
No,
It's
it's
enjoyment.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. So
This-
does that
Okay.
count? Podcast?
Sure,
book,
sure.
Research?
Especially when it's something
dance.
I'm never heard of, which means nothing. Trust me. Just because I haven't heard of it doesn't mean a thing. So listen, I appreciate you indulging us on those Gaston County questions that we ask all of our guests, and we've had some really great answers over the time, and except for Duke. So, a couple more questions. We're going to, we'll finish up this episode. So, Camilla, start with you. Especially being from Gastonia, besides Gaston Dance Theatre, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
I would just say, like, it's so, it feels like home, you know, seriously, like, everywhere. I know a lot of people. My husband's a pastor, so I'm connected to a lot of people as well. But when you go out, it just feels like home, you know. I feel, I mean, things happen everywhere, but I feel safe, you know. It's a happy place. And when I go out to anywhere, you know, it's never a time that I'm not greeted by someone, or that I greet someone and receive a warm welcome back. So it just feels like home. And maybe because I've never been outside of Gastonia. But
Well, you know,
but
I have traveled and visited a lot of places and spent a long time in Raleigh, and yeah, it's
does it not just, it just,
yeah, my experience is that there isn't any place like it, and
Yeah.
it is nice to come back.
Yeah.
And get, I like traveling, but it's always good to be back home as well.
I agree.
It does have that same feeling.
Yeah.
So, Landry, I know you're not from here officially, but
Right.
why would you say, with your experience here through the theater or anything in general, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
I've just met all of my favorite people here, the
Okay.
best people, from Miss Camilla to my best friends. It's just great.
That's a good experience. It's nice when you can find a group of individuals with similar interests and
Yes.
passions about things. So and I appreciate that. So this is the last question, and I do say this every episode. This is my favorite question, and I'm gonna have to modify it for one of the guests today. But I'll start with you, Camilla, on this one. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Let's see. So I'm not far from 20.
I was going to assume that, but
Not at all.
I'm not gonna. I
mean,
can
almost
assure you, I'm the
double,
oldest person in the
but-
room. I'm sure.
But I would say just to be bold. Growing up, I was a very shy child. And I think in areas in my life, when I reflect back, if I was just a little bit more bold, I think it would have done me some good. So, and it's actually one of the things that I still, that I still try to improve to today.
Yeah. Why did we have these fears, these unfounded fears of things that were probably not going to happen anyway, right?
Yeah, I know.
Because I can think back of so many things when I was around that age that, I'm not going to say regrets, but just little things that,
Yeah.
why didn't I do that? Or why
Yep.
I should have done that. And now
Yep.
here I am, a few years later. So Landry, I'm going to modify this, obviously. I don't think we can ask you what advice would you give your 20-year-old self.
It's
But
just
what,
6 years away.
She's not counting.
yeah, well, don't rush it. Trust me. You'll be 52 before you know it. How would you, with your experience with Gaston Dance Theatre, or just up to this point, and maybe the mentoring and interactions you've had with the younger students and dancers at Gaston Dance Theatre, what would you what would you say? What advice do you give them? Maybe that's a better way to.
I would just say keep doing what you love and working hard. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Dance, yeah, it's great.
So do you so if I can do math, so you're 14.
Yes.
Okay. So you have the 6, 7, 8-year-old. Do you have a perception of how much they look up to somebody like you?
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably watching. And when I was that age, when I was 14, if there was anybody looking to me, first of all, they shouldn't have. And then secondly, I sure had no concept that they might be. Maybe when I got a little bit older in high school, I was an athlete, and maybe some of the, 10th graders, because this was back when it was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade here locally. I think I started to realize that maybe some of those younger kids, but when I was 14, I sure didn't. So just, think about that. You're obviously setting a good example for them.
I love when, they come to watch performances and they stay after, and I'll come out and they'll come to take pictures with me or bring, little drawings for me. It means a lot.
Well, it's obvious that you are much further along than someone like me when I was 14, and you've obviously had some great success, and it's exciting to hear the things that you've got planned for the future. So maybe when you're world famous in episode 1022,
okay.
we can have you back on to the Gaston's great podcast, and I'll be retired and somebody else will be running the podcast. But appreciate hearing that. This has really been good. So the main point of us doing these is to bring awareness to your organization. And so, can you share where can listeners go to learn more? Anything you mentioned a few things already, but things you've got coming up, the next productions. So social media, anything and everything you'd like to share.
You can follow us on social media with Gaston Dance Theatre. Our website is gastondance.com.
Okay.
We have our spring show coming up on April 28th and 29th of Snow White, and it will be at Gaston Christian. And let's see, so the months of March, April, and May, we'll be offering all boy classes, free of charge, twice a month. And just follow on Instagram as well at Gaston Dance. I think it's Gaston Dance.
Yes.
GDT or Gaston Dance on Instagram. And we try to stay up to date with all those social media platforms there. And we're right here in Gaston County. One day we'll be able to say hopefully you'll be able to say that you're 100% familiar with that organization. And we've been here since 1982, and we're still thriving and growing.
So if someone wants tickets, how do they get tickets to, say, the spring production?
They just on our website at gastondance.com.
All right.
They usually go on sale maybe 2 months ahead of time, that you'll be able to begin purchasing those.
So maybe early March or something like that? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so listeners out there, you heard that. Let's would be great to pack in Gaston Christian, where they maybe even sell. Does it typically sell out, or?
Nutcracker, we were very close to selling out.
Okay.
And so it's a roughly 500 seat theater, and each night we were pretty close.
Okay, very good. So hopefully this will spur some listeners to check it out, and especially since, if I heard correctly, all of our viewers and listeners have now met Snow White in person. So that's good enough reason right there. So this has really been good. Guys, I appreciate your time. So any last words of wisdom, anything else either one of you would like to share before we close this episode out?
You first?
You first?
I would say just to reflect back on the question is to just be bold.
Yeah.
Be bold and confident. And that's one of the big things that we teach at Gaston Dance. No matter if you want to do it recreationally or no matter if you want to pursue it as a career, but just be bold and confident in all that you do, and know that you have a team rooting behind you.
Very good. Landry, anything to add to that, or did she cover it pretty well?
I think she did pretty good.
Okay, very good. So again, to our listeners out there, Gaston Dance Theatre, I appreciate what you guys do. Because it's much more than just putting on a performance now and then. You're making an impact with your students of any age, and then I really like hearing, Landry, about the impact you're obviously making on the younger kids that are coming into the theater. So as usual, I'm going to finish up with my own book recommendation and thought for the week, and this is a book by a gentleman named Gary Sinise, and most people probably know him as Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, or he's on one of the NCIS shows, maybe New York or something, but somebody I follow because I really like what he does. But he wrote a book called Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service, and it was one I would recommend. It's kind of a transformation from somebody, and I picked it because he started a theater group in Chicago, and then that led to Forrest Gump, and now a lot of the work he does is for our the military community. And my quote for the week is, again, I picked it on purpose for this week. It's from a gentleman named W. Clement Stone, and he said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." And I think that goes a little bit with what Camilla shared about being bold. If you can conceive it and believe it, then you can achieve it. And I kind of feel like maybe that's the road that Landry's going down. She's going to have sounds like a lot of big things in her future. So to our listeners out there, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast. And please don't hesitate to contact us here at our email, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We are always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on our social media platforms. And give us a good 5-star rating. As Naomi reminds us, that gets us noticed. Thanks again to Camilla and Landry for being our guests today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Naomi Hunt and Amy Anderson from GSM Services, and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.